Yeah, morning actually, afternoon actually. And one more thing for anyone who might have missed yesterday's session. So I'll just take that and I'll resume. Okay, so I'll just switch the screen sharing. So when you install this basic pen testing VM on your system, and when you boot it up, this is the screen that you should be able to reach. If you are able to get to the screen, that means it's
So
working
that's
fine.
the basic pen test one
Yeah,
machine, is it?
the
Ah,
basic pen.
okay, great. I'm just still downloading it.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, it's
No,
been slow. Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do this right now. Just download it, and when you run this, uh,
Okay.
okay. So this is the screen you should be getting if you're able to reach this. That means it's booting up properly, and then you can switch over to your attacking machine and then work on this. So now I'm going to switch over to my Linux system that I'm going to be using for attacking, and we start working there. Okay. So now I have my basic pen testing system running. I have this parrot running. Now, in order to start working on that machine, what do I need? What is the first thing I need? If I need to do something, if I need to have any kind of interaction with that machine, what is a very crucial piece of information?
First check. First check if the machine is on the same network, or ping the IP address and connect
Uh,
to via SSH or Telnet.
how do I ping the IP address if I don't know the IP address? The first step is to find the IP address.
Yeah. Okay. So IP address show.
Not for my machine, for that
Ah,
machine.
okay.
Okay, so
Um,
of course I should know the address of my machine as well
yeah.
for that network so that I can know this. So this is the interface Ethernet 0 on my attacking system. This is my IP. Now I need to find out my target IP. What IP I should target? Like what is the IP of my target system? So that is something that I need to figure out.
Find out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first thing we need to do before we can do anything else. Because without the IP, there is nothing I can do here. All right, so we have a couple of options when it comes to finding the IP address. Let's see the first one. So there is
So
a
you're
command
going into
called,
root. Okay.
actually there is a command that I need to run known as net discover. So if I run it without root, it is going to give me a message. Oh, sorry, I messed up the spelling there. So it's going to give you a message, you must be root
Yeah.
to run this.
Okay.
So I need to run this with sudo. Actually, if I just run this directly, it's going to start scanning a large number of IP addresses, but that's going to take a long time. So the first thing I need to do is I need to specify a couple of parameters so that I can narrow down the search and only look for what is, the relevant, only look through the relevant IP addresses. So first I need to specify what interface I wanted to consider. So the interface that we saw there was named Ethernet 0 or ETH 0, and we specify that with the hyphen I option. The next thing that I need to do, excuse me, is specify the network range. Okay, so I mean it's going to work even if I don't specify that, but it's going to take even longer in that case. So I need to specify the network range, and either I can write this /24, but for some reason the /24 option is not working very well with net discover. So I give it a broader net /16. So it's going to look for all the subnets within this range. Okay, so I guess I should stop this because it's not going to find anything else for me. And as you can see, we have 4 results here. And these 4 IPs are available besides my own IP, that is. So my own IP is 10.0.2.15, like we've seen earlier. Now this tool works on the basis of capturing ARP packets, so address resolution protocol. And based on that, it has figured out 4 IPs. Now I need to narrow down from these 4 IPs. What is the first IP that I can eliminate, that I can just look at and say, okay, this is definitely not going to be my target? What is an IP like that from this list that I can just see that IP and I know that, okay, this is definitely not my target? Is there
The
any IP like that?
gateway IP address,
Okay, and which is that?
245 probably,
No,
or 1.
not one. So the gateway IP is usually the first IP, dot one. Even if you are using a Wi-Fi network at this point of time, then even your when you check your
Okay.
own network, you'll find that your gateway will also have an IP assigned to it, and that is going to be this first IP. For example, if its network is 192.168.0 dot, so on. So your gateway would be 0.1, and all the other IPs would be after that, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Okay, so 10.0.2.1 is the first address in the network that is reserved for the gateway. So I know that is not my target. That is the gateway. We are not attacking the gateway.
Probably 3 is the one.
Okay, let's see which is the one. We don't know at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have eliminated one IP from these from this list.
Sir, I have doubts.
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. What is the question? I'm not able to hear you if you're asking something. Am I audible to you guys?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay. So you said you had a doubt. So could you please ask that? Yes, Deepak. Okay. Please ask whatever your question is. If you're saying something, Deepak, I can't hear you.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes. Yes. You're audible now.
Uh, Sir, what type of network should be connected on Parrot OS, sir? Bridge adapter or NAT network, sir? Because while doing net discover, I can't able to see any of the IP which is connected to my machine.
If you are using bridge, are you able to use the internet? Like, is it working fine on a bridge network, on a bridge
Yes,
adapter?
sir. Yes, sir.
But you won't be able to test that out with the target one. So I would suggest that you use NAT network for this,
NAT
or
network, sir.
yeah, NAT network.
Okay, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir. You carry on, sir.
Okay. So out of these four IPs, we know this is not going to be the one. Based on this, is there any other IP that I can eliminate?
Sir, point two.
And why is that?
Same MAC address.
Same MAC address, exactly.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is the exact same MAC address for both these devices. That means that even this IP is assigned to some other interface belonging to this gateway. So it might be having multiple interfaces, and that's why there are a couple of IPs assigned to it. So it's not our target as well because same MAC address, so it cannot be the target. Now we are left with two IPs, 2.3 and 2.245. So of course, there's no way to narrow it down. There's no way to figure out which is the target based on this result alone now. Out of these two, okay, no way to tell. So what we can do is now we can come to Nmap. Okay, so we can take the help of Nmap and try to figure out what the situation is now. So are you familiar with any kind of scan in Nmap? It tells you what kind of operating system is present on the target.
Yeah.
There is in Nmap there is an operating system detection scanning. So you can specify that using hyphen capital O.
Is it O
Yes,
or
O.
OS?
No
Yeah.
OS. Just
Oh,
O,
okay.
not
Oh,
OS.
okay.
Just
Yeah.
capital O. And then you specify your target. So 2.3 comma 245 since we need to scan both of these. And operating system detection does not work without root privileges. So use sudo.
Also, is it good to have so there is one called VMware Workstation, another one is VirtualBox.
Yeah.
Workstation, I'm unable to run two VMs.
Which ones?
The VM workstation.
No, which VMs are you unable to run? Like, what
No,
is
I'm unable to run two VMs.
like two VMs simultaneously? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's right.
Um,
So
what
in VM, can we run this in VirtualBox, two of them?
yeah, definitely.
Ah, okay. So then it's better if I don't use this.
Actually, you should not be getting an issue even with VMware. Maybe you're assigning, a lot of resources to those VMs. That might be the case. How much RAM do you have in your system?
8 GB,
And how much are you assigning to each of these systems?
around 4 GB, I think. I'm just have to check it.
Just check and tell me.
Uh, Power off, shutdown.
Because if you're assigning too much of your system's resources, then your host OS won't be able to function properly. So in that case, also you'll be getting an error.
Oh, okay.
So can you help me with connecting to the network, sir? That network.
NAT network. Okay.
Yeah, sir. Because I'm not getting internet on the NAT network.
That's you are using VirtualBox.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just one moment.
Okay, I think Toolbox, manager.
See, so this is my Parrot OS which is running, and the network adapter that is for NAT network. So okay, so there's also a name
I'm not getting this NAT network, sir, in the name.
and a name. Okay, so what you need to do is go to this file and go to host network manager.
Okay, sir.
Okay, no, not this one.
Preference, I think, sir.
Preferences. Okay, yeah, preferences, and go to network.
Network.
Yeah, here you create a new one,
Okay, sir.
new NAT network,
Sir,
and make sure
this
this
is
is
for what? This is for what, sir?
this is if you want to create a NAT network. So a NAT network is your devices as in your virtual machines can access the internet, of course, through your host system, and they can also interact with each other. They will all be on the same network if you are assigning them to the same NAT network.
Oh, okay, sir.
But of course, your machine will not be available as a separate device to your host OS. So you can't have an interaction between your host system and your virtual machine if you're using NAT network.
Oh, okay, sir. If you want connection means what we can do, sir?
If you want with host as well, then just add another adapter. Okay,
Okay, sir.
so you can add 4 network adapters. Just come to this network section, and since the machine is currently on, so it's not letting me add any more.
Okay,
So
sir.
when it is turned off, just select the next one and on enable and host only adapter.
Okay, sir.
So since I have 2 adapters running for this Parrot OS, that's why I see 2 Ethernet interfaces when I run IP address. When I
Oh, okay, sir. I got it, sir. I got it, sir.
got it. Okay.
Yes.
So see, in this case, what happens is there's Ethernet 0. This is the NAT network IP, and Ethernet 1. This is the host only IP. So my host can access this VM using this IP, but not with this one. And this is just a temporary connection, so that's not related to any adapter. Don't worry about that. Okay. Any other questions?
Nothing, sir. You can answer.
Okay. And yeah, did you figure out that how much RAM you are assigning to your systems? If it's too
So
much,
myself, Myself, I have 16 GB of RAM, sir.
Okay, no, I meant solo. Actually, he was
Oh,
having
sir.
the. Yes, did you check how much RAM you are assigning to your VMs?
So how much is it? 2 GB is enough? Good enough for this? Or
For see, for this basic PT, even 1 GB is more than enough.
okay.
And for your own Kali or Parrot, stick with 2 GB. That's fine.
Oh, okay, great, fantastic. That's what I'm trying to remove the VM workstation
Oh,
because I'm also running out of space on my machine, which is I'll sort
okay.
it out a little bit later. Thank you.
Yeah, that's something you need to figure out. See, because with 8 GB of RAM, what is the host you are using? I'm guessing Windows.
So yeah, I'm using Windows.
Right.
My yeah.
See, but because
Looking at
Windows
my
also needs
apps.
RAM.
So the looking at my apps. Yeah. Yeah, my browser is having the most, so I'll close that.
But even that is not, I mean, that's not mainly what could be causing the issue. See, if you're assigning 4 GB to, let's say, if you're using Parrot, you're assigning 4 GB to that. If you're assigning 2 GB to your, let's say, basic pen testing. So out of 8 GB, 6 GB is already gone.
Yeah,
And your system is only left with 2 GB, even less. A little bit of that is reserved for, you know,
yeah, that's right.
system. So that is why you might be having the issue. So just reduce the amount of RAM allocated and you should be fine.
Okay. Is it? Do you think is it better to run? Are you running the VM box?
I'm running VirtualBox because Parrot is not really compatible very well with this VMware.
Okay,
I don't know whether they have made any changes to fix that, but back when I installed it for the first time, it told me that this is not compatible.
okay,
Since then, I've been using VirtualBox.
okay,
But sometimes you'll run into cases where a virtual machine is only going to work with the VMware, then you'll have to use that for that particular situation.
okay. Yeah, got it.
Okay, so we ran our Nmap scan. Okay, we ran it here. And for both these IPs, we ran the scan. So first, it has shown us the results for 2.3. All 1,000 scan ports are filtered. Okay, filtered means it usually denotes that there is a firewall somewhere, but it basically means that Nmap received no response. And as for the operating system detection, it has indicated that too many fingerprints match this host to give specific OS details. Okay, so it was not able to figure out what OS is running. As for the second IP, there are out of 1,000 ports, 997 are closed and 3 were found open. And this is the MAC address. Okay, that's not the information we're looking for. For OS, it says no exact OS matches for host. Okay. But looking at the complete results, is there any way for us to pinpoint what kind of operating system is running here?
Um, so it says no exact OS matches for host.
Yeah.
Must be a Linux.
Why?
If it is Windows, then it might say NetBIOS, right? The port.
Actually, When Nmap is showing you results like
Yeah.
this service is not something that it has found out, but it is guessing that this is a service because it's the default port. If I
Okay.
give it a service detection scan, version detection scan, then it's going to confirm what service is running. But this is more or less guess by Nmap. Now, one more thing to pay attention to is the TCP IP fingerprint that we have received here. Okay, so
Yeah.
OS scan, and you can see there's something
Yeah,
scan
it's x86 Linux GNU. Okay.
Linux. So this is a part of the responses that were received from that system. So this is telling us that we are looking at a Linux system, while for this previous IP there is no information on OS, and it's not even responding to any of the port scan requests that Nmap is making. So this is our target now. Okay, that must have been some other device on the network, or maybe it's just another embedded device, maybe another uh, you know virtual box network device, but it's definitely not our target. So this is our target's IP 10.0.2.245, and I am going to continue with this. So what we do now is, now we've already done a very basic Nmap scan. We know that there are 3 open ports, but this is not a complete scan, right? This has given us the results of scanning only 1,000 ports out of a total of how many total ports?
There are a lot of them, right?
Yeah, there are a
There are
lot,
some European, probably around 45,000, 50,000, something like that.
a little off, 65,535
Oh, okay.
ports. So what we need to do is we need to be thorough. Okay, so it's best to check out all ports. I mean, if you're on a time crunch, then okay, maybe you just go ahead with this. But it's always, if you have time, it's always best to make sure that you're not missing anything.
Okay.
So we'll scan for all ports now, because there might be, see, when Nmap scans 1,000 ports, it is taking the 1,000 most commonly used ports and it is scanning them. But there might be something running on a port that's not commonly used, and that might be done on purpose by the system administrator or whoever else might have configured the system to throw any potential attacker off the scent. So as a penetration tester, you need to be able to think like an attacker, and they are always going to be thorough. It's not like they are on a time limit. So what we are going to do is we are going to do a scan, and we're going to include all ports. Now if you want to specify a port in Nmap, specify a particular port, the syntax for that is you use hyphen lowercase p, and you specify either a single port, or you can specify multiple ports, or you can specify port ranges. So if I were to scan all ports, I could either do this, or I could use a shortcut. If I want to scan all ports, there is a shortcut in OneMap. Just hyphen p hyphen. So this is going to include all ports, and then of course this is going to be followed by my IP, and that's what we are going to do here. All right, uh, scan complete already, and it's telling us that there are 65532 closed ports and the same three open ports that it showed us on the last result. Okay. So we didn't discover any new ports open, but it's better to be sure. Now we know that, okay, these are the only three ports that we are going to find open here. So that is what we're going to concentrate on now. Now I need to run a couple of more scans to get an even more in-depth idea of what kind of services are running on my target. So there is a kind of scan known as service version detection scan. Okay, hyphen S, capital V. This tries to figure out what version of a particular service is running or what version of a particular software is running. Let's say on port 21 we have FTP. So what kind of FTP server, what software is running there? Just knowing that port 21 is open and FTP is there, that's not enough. If I can get information about the exact FTP software that I'm running, then I can target that particular software as well. So I need to know that. That's why we use this service version detection. Then there's another scan known as script scan. And of course, you can combine multiple scans in one command. Now, script scan, what it does is now Nmap over the years, it has evolved a lot. And now what Nmap has is a lot of scripts. Okay, it comes with a lot of inbuilt scripts that you can run to get even more information. So this hyphen SC is for a script scan. So whatever ports are open, your Nmap is going to run all the relevant scripts related to those ports that could give you more information. So that is what a script scan does. Now, instead of doing all this, I could just say capital A. Now, this is a special command in Nmap. It combines four things: script scan, service version detection, operating system scan, the one that we run with the capital O, and trace route. So I could just specify this. Actually, I need sudo to make this work properly. So this can combines these four different options, and I just have to write one option there. Okay, we have our scan results. So what do we see here now? Since this combines service version detection as well, since this includes service version detection. So now you see the service is mentioned and the version. So
Yeah.
we know FTP is there, but what FTP server? So the FTP server that's present is Pro FTPD version 1.3.3. So we know the exact software details as well. Then we come to SSH. So what version of SSH? OpenSSH 7.2 P2 Ubuntu Linux. So now this is also confirming our target's operating system, which is Ubuntu. And of course, that's a distribution based on Linux. And if you see here, there are a couple of scripts. So one is SSH host key, and the other script is for HTTP. Even for HTTP, we are able to figure out the service that is running. So it's an Apache HTTPD 2.4.18 Ubuntu server. Now, in a lot of cases, you're going to find this combination of SSH and HTTP open. Now with SSH, have you guys used SSH previously?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So SSH is basically what it's used to log into a system remotely and get shell access, right? So in order to do that, in order to log in, you should have valid credentials of an account in that system. If you don't have that, there's nothing you can do with SSH. So if you find
So
SSH, yes,
for me, while running this net discover command is only showing two of the IP address.
okay, and what are they? Like, have you tried running some more Nmap scans? See, it's going to be a
No,
little bit different for everyone based on
yeah,
how
sir.
you're configured.
Because sir, but we both of them download the same virtual machine, sir. I mean
Mhm.
the OVA file. But how come the IP address would be changed itself for both the machines?
Because most machines, most systems these days, you don't use static IPs. Okay,
Oh, okay, sir.
most networks use DHCP, which is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol,
Okay, sir.
and so the IP is assigned randomly.
Oh, okay, sir.
And specifically, if I'm talking about VirtualBox or VMware configurations, then of course that is going to be different because we all have different setups. Now I have about 20, 25 virtual machines, so I might have multiple adapters for
Yes, sir.
them. So I'll see maybe more results with NetDiscover. What matters is that you get the actual IP for your target and you are able to work on it.
Oh, okay, sir. But in my Ethernet connection one, it's showing no IP address. I mean, in zero, it's showing no IP address. Sir. Only in Ethernet connection one is showing no IP address.
Ethernet 0 is showing no IP address.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What kind of adapters are present on your system?
So only system adapters,
No, no,
real
I
tech.
mean for the virtual machine,
So
like NAT network, bridge, what kind of
NAT,
adapters are
yes,
set?
sir. NAT network, sir.
NAT network. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And are you sure that is connected to the NAT network name, the
Yes, sir.
you
NAT
created the
network.
new NAT network
Yes, sir.
settings? Okay. And what is the other interface? Like what is the
EDH
other
one,
adapter?
Ethernet one, and adapter two is host to
Host only.
host only. Yes, sir.
Host only. Okay. So if you try to access the internet from your machine, I guess you would not be able to do that.
Okay, sir. So what to do, sir?
Just try accessing it once. Are you able
And
to
what?
access the internet?
So just a minute, sir.
Use the internet at all, like Google or just ping
Yes, sir.
something.
Just a
Are you
minute,
able?
sir. Sir, no, sir. I can't access the
No,
internet.
can't access. Okay. Were you able to access the internet using NAT?
Sir, just a minute, sir.
Not
I'm
NAT
checking.
network, just NAT. Let's try that once.
Sir, no, sir.
No, not even with NAT.
No, sir.
Okay. Then it might be the case that DHCP might not be working.
Okay, sir.
Just give me a moment. I'll give you a command which you can use. What is the OS that you're using? Kali?
Kali, sir.
Kali,
Yes, sir.
okay.
If I put in the bridge mode, it picks up the local network. I can see all the machines.
Okay.
Internet is also possible, but NAT mode, I think we need to do a little bit more config, I think.
NAT network, actually, even in NAT, it should work by default. Let me just check.
Workstation.
Sometimes it might just be a DHCP issue. Try rebooting
So,
it once. Yeah.
just 1 minute. Sir, no, sir.
Still not. Okay. Uh, Try running this command. I'll just give you a command in chat.
Okay, sir.
And it mentions Ethernet 0, but if uh, that's not the interface in your case, then just replace that with the correct interface number or name in this case. Okay, so I've pasted it in chat. I'll just try running that and then check
Yes, sir.
the IP again.
So now also on Ethernet 0, it's showing no connections.
Connection. Okay.
Sir, it's showing. Sir. Just
Yeah.
now, sir. Sir, it's showing, sir. It's showing, sir. Yeah, sir, it's
Showing
showing.
an IP, or are you try connecting to the internet now?
Yes, sir, it's showing an IP.
Showing an IP, and just try using the internet. Just maybe try just going to Google or something.
Sir, sir, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It's
Sometimes this is an issue with the DHCP client
oh,
side version of it.
okay,
So just need
okay, sir.
to rattle
Okay,
it
sir.
once and then it works.
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay, so now you should be able to work with it uh,
Yes, and now I will know, sir.
as usual. Okay, so okay, so the one. So this was the result of our script scan and stuff. Okay, I was talking about SSH, right? So with
Yes,
SSH,
sir.
yeah, there is no way to. No, there's usually no exploitation to do with SSH. It's just if you have the valid credentials or if you're able to get the credentials, find them via any other means, you use that to log into that system using SSH. Or as a last resort, if there's nothing that you're able to do, then you can try to do a password cracking attack or a brute forcing attack over SSH. So usually we don't target SSH. If we have credentials, we use them. Otherwise, we leave SSH alone. So here we have two services apart from SSH. One is FTP and the other is HTTP. Now FTP is file transfer protocol. So there's a file transfer protocol server that is running on our target. There's an FTP server that is running on our target. Whenever you find an FTP server, there's one thing that you can try. There is something known as an anonymous login. So you can log in without having credentials. So when you are doing this kind of thing and you see that FTP is present, you can try to do an anonymous login. It won't be successful always, but in case it does work, then you might be able to find some information. Now, the way to connect to an FTP server is either you can go to your browser and just type FTP and this colon double forward slash and the IP address, or if you want to do this through the command line in FTP followed by the IP address, FTP space and then an IP. So 10.0.2.245. So it is asking me for a username. Now, since it's an anonymous login, I'm going to enter anonymous as the username. And it says anonymous login okay, but that's yet to be tested. I'm just going to use anonymous as the password. But it says login failed. So anonymous login is not going to work on this system. If it did work, maybe we would have found some FTP. Sorry, maybe we would have found some files here on this FTP server that could have given us some information. But since that is not the case, I'm just going to exit. Okay, so there's nothing I can do for the FTPs on the FTP server right now. Okay, so